Hey y'all, it is Asia, the fumbling farmer. I'm here videoing from Zone 8A in North Carolina, and I just wanted to give you kind of update on what's going on. So I'm going to flip around a little to my seed starting trays. So they are looking pretty good in here. These are the roselle. There's a whole bunch of stuff. It's all labeled and everything of what it is. There's some things that didn't come up at all yet. But I'm still being patient for those. And then this is what I recently planted over here. So those are starting to have a lot of good germination coming up. And there's some more in the back. I'm going to take all the trays out and look at them more closely. And then down here are my onions and leeks and shallots, which are doing somewhat okay and somewhat not, whatever. So today what we're going to do, because I was looking down here at the roots, whoa, look at those. And a lot of these plants, not all of them, but a lot of them have roots that are coming out the bottom there. So some of the ones that are a little bit bigger, like these roselle in the front, the parsley back there, if I could get it filmed past the roselle. All right, that parsley has like several true leaves on it. So like those leaves there are like their true leaves. I think this basket flower way in the back there, sorry, it keeps focusing on the roselle, but the basket flower in the back there. So a couple of these things, I think, and the sage in the front here, where is it? Right here, this one behind this roselle plant. The ones that have kind of a set of true leaves and the roots are kind of showing through on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and up pot those. So that's going to be our adventure today, is up potting our little baby seedlings into something a little bigger that can get it more nutrients and more space for its roots and everything. So, and get set up. I got to put down my little gardening sheet inside, and get my soil set up and get the pots going, and then I'll join you back again when I'm there. Okay. Boop. Okay, I'm all set up on the floor now. Here we go. I have my big old bowl. I have my pots just spread out and separated. They come together like this, and sometimes it can be hard to separate them, so I like to get them separated before. So far, I've only labeled the roselle with the labels. Those are going to be the first 5 plants that I plant. For those of you here at a previous video, I made these bags. I had like a little peat cube thingy, not peat, but it was like coconut coir, like a hardened compressed cube, and I put the water in it, and it made tons of these bags of leftover soil. And then I have mixed in perlite with one of the bags and some worm castings with one of the bags. And so that's what I have right here that I'm going to dump into my bowl. That should, and then start scooping into the pots. I actually probably don't even need to make a mess with the bowl. I could just put the bag in the bowl and scoop out of there. I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, let me get you set up. All right, and let's get going. So I had to get a sturdier cup to scoop into, because these ones are not good for scooping. There's actually one thing I like about these cups is they were inexpensive, but they are also like super duper bendy, which makes it easy to get stuff out of them when you're trying to like squeeze the soil out. It's easier. It's not that hard, but it's also really fragile feeling. So I'm just going to scoop some soil into my cup and press it down, but not all the way. And I'm going to leave some space because I know the roots are going to be quite hefty on these. I believe these are 3-inch pots. So 1, 2. So I'm going from these little tiny planting squares in here to a 3-inch pot. These cups come with the holes already, drainage holes already there in the bottom. So that is nice. And it's nice that I can just write on the cups too, and I don't have to worry about making a label for every single cup. These ones have filled up a little too much, so I'm gonna just put some in there. The soil that I'm working with in these bags is still quite damp, so I didn't add any water to them, but I will water them pretty well once I got them. All right, so let's see what we're doing with these babies now. This is my first year working with this seed tray that has like these soft bottoms to them, but allegedly, you're supposed to be able to just push up and the little plant comes out. Now, I was watching this video and this guy said, don't, look how cute that is and look how good the root system is. I think this is probably some of my healthiest root systems. Last year, I grew some plants, but their roots did not look fantastic, I have to admit. So I'm really happy that this year my roots are looking a little better, a little happier. All right, put some dirt around those and ta-da, first one done. There you go, buddy. Little space for you to grow nice and big. All right, here I go again. Here I go, here I go, here I go again. All right, this one had a little less roots. It wasn't really reaching all the way down to the bottom of the thing. There's still some soil left in here that it hadn't grabbed. I'll put a little bit more dirt in here. Put that there. And then fill in some dirt around it. And all this mess is why when I'm indoors, I always put the sheet down so that any mess that gets made can just be folded up in the sheet and then shook outside. All right. 2. All right, this one I think has a little bit heftier root system. Yeah. So here it is. Ready to get put in its new little home with some extra space. And I'm going to give this a couple days to kind of get itself settled, and then I will give it some fertilizer too, because this is basically the peat mix. Even though I don't have any worm castings in, even though I do have the worm castings in here, it's going to start needing more nutrients soon. So let me go ahead and put that there. That's 3. All right, now we add our next one. I think this one's going to have a pretty good root system. It's looking nice and hefty. Anyway, the guy I was watching said to grab your plants from the leaves because they could always grow new leaves. Oh, Lord. I dropped it. Look at that. There's the roots. It's okay if you drop it like that, actually, because you just tuck it in there. It'll be fine. The one thing you want to make sure you don't mess up is the stem. So I agree with that, but I feel like grabbing it by the roots kind of makes it more, I mean, not by the roots, by the leaves is not that good. It's like holding someone by their hair instead of picking them up around their waist. Doesn't make sense to me, but maybe, I don't know. And he was planting some pretty tiny seeds as well, so maybe that makes sense with the smaller ones. All right, how's your roots? They're just sticking out the bottom. So let's see. I really like this thing where you can just, yeah, I didn't think I would. So that's this roots. When it has really good developed roots, it'll grab the whole dirt packet with it. When the roots are a little bit tinier, you might just end up just pulling the roots out, which, like I said, is fine. You just gotta make sure they're covered up and stable inside their new cup. All right, there we go. 5 little baby Roselle in their new little home. Okay, what do we want to do next? I think I'm going to go for the sage next. So I'm going to get one of my cups. These cups, like I had pre-labeled things last year of what I was expecting to get, and then I ended up not using the cup for it, so I have to cross out the old label and put in the new label, which is, what did I say I'm doing? Sage. Oh, pineapple sage. Yes, that's what I wanted to buy. Sorry, I just had a moment. I was all day yesterday. I was like, what is it I want to get? What is it I want to get? What is it I want to get? Because there was a plant somebody mentioned on one video that I was like, oh, I want to get that. And I could not remember what it was. But now looking at the sage, I'm like, oh, yes, pineapple sage. I actually don't really use sage that much in recipes, but I just like the way pineapple sage sounds for some reason. I'm also just going to put that label in there. Actually, no, I'm not. Okay. So this must have a pretty solid root system because the whole chunk came out with it. And, oh my goodness, it smells good. Smells like sage. Okay. Fill in some dirt around here and tuck it in. There you go, buddy. Look at you. Moving on up. All right, that's the sage. Okay, I'm actually going to leave the sage label in here because I did replant a couple of seeds that hadn't germinated in these spots. So I'll leave that label in there for that. All right, I think next I'm going to do the parsley. Parsley, I had a bunch of plants come up. I'm going to pull this one out because I just want one seed from each thing, and all of these three have a true leaf on it, where this one is still working with its little baby leaf there. So let me get my marker. You're asking what kind of marker I'm using. It's not an official anything marker. It's actually an art marker. I couldn't find my Sharpie. I love that my kids do arts and crafts projects, but then they leave their stuff everywhere. So we're still working on like the cleaning up and putting things back where you got it. But if I'm being honest, I'm still working on that too in my old age. So give a little grace. But also, where's my Sharpie? So we're gonna have 3 parsley plants. All right, cross off all these. I have a whole, these are all like tomato pots, like all the labels on them from last year are tomato plants that I tried. And I always try a really funky variety of tomatoes. Next week, I think I'll be planting tomatoes and peppers and eggplants. So this week's going to be kind of the uppotting of all these babies. And then we'll work on tomatoes and peppers and eggplant. I don't really like eggplant. I just like to grow it. I think it's a pretty plant and it makes a pretty flower. So I like to grow it, but then I give it away. I am going to need to make more soil. All right, let's get this parsley going. Okay, come on, honey. How are we doing? Let's see. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, all right. This is not going well. Okay. All right. Here's this little buddy. I got to kind of gently get him in where he's going. Make a little hole. Nope. Stand up straight, sir. Stand up straight. You're not doing any of that laying down stuff. You are a proud little seedling. From many generations of proud little seedlings. Keep your chin up. Because you got to keep your head up. Oh. All right, there. There he is. Whoop, whoop. That was a little touch and go there, y'all. How you doing, honey? You okay? Okay. Well, we're going to put him over there and see what happens. Okay. Now that makes me nervous for this one. The roselle roots were so strong. All right, you're doing a little better. Let's tuck you in there. Okay, filling around you. Whew, you did a little better, honey. I'm actually supposed to be starting my second round of parsley this week. Because on my seed starting thing, calendar thing that I have, it says second sow. If I want a succession sow, I should be starting my second round of parsley. All right, there's that one. All right, y'all. I need to mix a little bit more dirt because this baby's going to come in here, but I don't really have anything. I could try to scoop some up from down here. I don't really have anything to fill in around it, and I have a feeling. Look at how hard-headed I am. I know what I need to do, and what am I doing? Not doing it. Hard-headed. That's where my kids get it from. All right. Put that in there. You're going to be okay, honey. You're going to be okay. We're going to tuck you down. You're going to cover up your little rooty roots. So you don't have none of that going on. Okay, get some of this section. Okay, you worked out all right. All right. So that's that. Everything's supposed to be covered is covered. Everything that's not is not. We all good. Okay. So at this point, I think I'm going to pause. I'm going to go ahead and mix up another bag of soil. And then I'm going to get going with the rest of these. And then I think I'll be done for the day. I'll come back and show you when I'm all done and it's all set up. Okay, I'm not done yet, but I wanted to pop on when like interesting stuff is happening. So I got my soil mixed up here and ready to go. So another new batch. I was looking at this purple basil right here. And I noticed there's a big plant with like its true leaves and everything, and then a little tiny baby up in there. And I really want 2 purple basil plants. I had planted some here, but they haven't germinated yet. I'm still going to give them a chance to germinate, but I thought it would be cool to up pot at this stage and at this stage and see what happens. Also, I can show you how to kind of gently tease apart your plants, your seedlings, so that even if they're you don't have to, like, you know how I've been pinching off in the other ones so that there's just one plant in each cell. You don't have to do that. You can also grow multiple, but tease them apart, the roots apart carefully. So I'm going to try to show you that, I think. So let's do that. So I have two pots here for purple basil, and put some soil in both of them. Tap them down a little bit. You don't want your soil too loose, or else there's too much air in it and the roots can't find a good place to go. And these are tinier plants, so I'm going to fill them up a little bit more. I'm also planning to tease apart the roots, so it's just going to be the roots and not too much dirt mixed in with it. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to make a little hole for them to be lowered into. All right, so here we go. Lift it up. I'm going to take the purple basil out. I'll leave that in there. Okay. Take out this whole soil chunk, right? Okay. So there's that whole soil chunk. And there's 2 plants in here. So I'm just going to gently, the soil's really nice and loose. I probably could have done that over the thing. All right, so here's the bigger plant, and here's the smaller plant. See, the smaller one just has this one kind of long root to there, and the bigger plant has all those roots developed. So I'm going to put the small one down first, make this hole a little bit bigger for this baby. Tuck it down in there and press down around it, making sure that none of the roots are sticking up above the soil. So that's the big one. Big is all relative. All right. And then the small tiny one in here, just going to carefully, I guess this is why the guy said hold it by the leaves, because if it's this size, then the leaves are kind of all you got. All right. So it's hard to see because the plant is a darker purple color, but the plant is right there, that itty bitty tiny thing right there. Okay, so we'll keep those watered and see how they do with the 2 purple basil plants. Okay, all right, now I'm going to go do these. I think I'm just going to do this one. These are all Italian sweet basil, but this one has its true leaves and these ones don't yet. So I'm going to let these develop a little bit more. I'm going to move the label over here, let them develop a little more, and just pot that one now. Some of these Thai basils, these ones are pretty well developed and got some true leaves, and caraway I'm going to do, and dill I'm going to do. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, the caraway is 2 relatively big plants with pretty well developed roots. So now I'm just going to gently kind of break the soil away, separate the plants, and just kind of shake them out until both the roots separated. So the root systems are still intact pretty well. And now I can put them into their 2 separate bins and give them a little more space to grow. You see how this one, the little cotyledon leaf, the baby leaf is turning yellow? I think that's okay. I think that's eventually what ends up happening is they will fall away. So here's the other one. Really nicely developed roots down there. Make a nice hole. Lower them in gently. Just kind of pushing them in. Make sure they go down under. And then press in the soil around it to kind of tuck it in there. All right. So I showed you how to separate the seedlings to plant them with kind of smaller seed systems. But even if the plants are big and looks like they have some really tangled, gnarly roots, it's still possible to do it. Okay. All right. I ran out of those other pots. I finally used them all up. I have a couple left from last year that actually had labels of plants I'm planning to do this year. So this is Snapdragon and yarrow, which I'm planning to plant. So I have like three of these left. So it's time to bust open my new pots I tried this year. So I told you that my complaint about these ones were they were really flimsy, and I was hoping I'd be able to rewash them and reuse them. But because of how kind of flimsy they are, which is good for pushing the plants out and good because they were inexpensive, but because of how floppy they were, I wasn't able to really reuse them. They would rip and tear really easily after use. So I went and got these peat pots. They're a little bit smaller than these other ones. So that's kind of a negative. They do have the drainage holes in there already. They should, they're not going to be reusable, but they are kind of biodegradable. So I didn't like throwing these ones out, so many of them just getting thrown out because they weren't reusable, but they're also plasticky. So that these are going to be biodegradable. So we'll see how these ones do. I am going to try to label on here, but I have a feeling with these peat pots, they get all moist. So we'll see how the labels last. Hopefully I'll label something that I know what it actually looks like when it's a plant so that I don't forget what it is. So I just wanted to show you that I was switching pots, and we'll see how that goes. And then after that, I got these. And these ones are the same size, I think 3-inch. They have the soft bottoms, but they are sturdy plastic. And these ones are supposed to be washable and reusable for year after year. So these are going to be the next ones. But I'm going to use up these first before I get to the reusable ones. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, that's all. Just a little pot update.